Hey, Craig Grant of RETI here to talk about data security. Data security is an area you might not really think much about until it really affects you. But the fact is, you're collecting so much information from your clients, their communications and files, and important vital information you got to protect. And the typical realtor really has had zero training on how to properly protect that data. So, what this video is going to be a nice primer for you on the steps you need to do to make yourself and your clients a whole lot safer storing their information. So let's get started with data security. So we've already explored a few different ways at how technology can ruin your real estate business. In this section, we're going to cover really how viruses and malware can really affect your business, both for you and also your clients. So first of all, we really got to start at square one. The Code of Ethics Standard Practice Article 1-9 basically states that one of your primary duties as a realtor is to collect and store all documentation, communications, really everything related to your business between you and clients, and then store that information for up to 5 years. And that really, I always say, sets a realtor up for failure because most realtors are not trained in how to properly collect and store this information. And the scary fact is, every single day, 90,000 new viruses hit the internet. Every day. There's attacks going on every second from around the world. In fact, if you ever want to go check out a website like map.ipviking.com, it'll show you to the split second every hacking and every virus attack going on worldwide. And the scary fact is the United States is always the biggest target that the world goes after. So it's a sad reality. And I'm sure you recognize some of these logos. Companies like Target and Snapchat and Sony made huge news when they had data breaches, when hackers were able to break into their systems. But the truth is, those are much more rare. The major companies getting hit. The real target from the hackers is us, normal people. Every day, 30,000 small businesses are hacked in the United States. So small businesses and consumers are really their targets because we don't have entire IT staffs working 24/7 on our security. And if we ever get breached, we're not going to hire a huge, tech firm to go out and do analysis and figure out who did the hacking and how did they get in. So we're really their targets. We're the easy pickings. In fact, this is a quote that I loved from James Comey, the director of the FBI. There are only two kinds of companies in the United States: those who have been hacked and those that know they've already been hacked. So everyone's been hacked. I guarantee you have viruses running on your computer right now. Everyone does. It's just how much of a breach. And if you're trying to figure out, well, where is all this coming from? Is it just a bunch of kids, in their basements creating, code to go out and kind of cause havoc? No, the facts are the organized crime we all grew up with, mafia style organized crime, was beating people up and extorting them face to face. And it was really through intimidation. The new generation of organized crime is there's syndicates all over the world funding and doing all of this stuff. They're the ones behind the hackers creating the viruses and the scripts. They're funding it. And then they're also paying people to go and help distribute the viruses. So this is highly organized and highly funded. It's not just some kid locked in his garage doing work. And the truth is, if you're ever the victim of a data breach, if a hacker is able to get onto your computers or onto your servers and start stealing some of your client information, the estimated cost to a company of a data breach is between $400,000 and $850,000. I don't know about you, I don't have that kind of money laying around. I'd rather just figure out how to not be a likely victim. And by the way, this is the definition of a computer virus. I doubt you really want to know exactly what a virus is. And if you really want, we can provide you on our site. You'll see that there's a whole list of definitions of all these different kinds of viruses. And you can see just how many there are. And there's a whole nother set of kinds of malware. Okay, so if you really want to learn what these are, you can just download the white paper and kind of learn these definitions. But really going to focus on in this section is how can you make yourself less of a likely victim to get viruses and malware. And by the way, if you go through these next few steps we're going to provide you in this video, we're in no way trying to let you believe that you're going to be uncrackable, that you would never be a victim. Anyone can get a virus or malware, okay? But the way we always try to explain it is, if I'm a thief and I'm casing the neighborhood, which house I'm going to break into? And house number one on the block has horrible lighting, no gate, no dog. And the house next to it has a high fence, excellent lighting. I see cameras exposed from the outside, and there's a dog barking inside. Which house am I going to break into? Obviously house number one. So what we're trying to do in this section is help you be house number one, putting up as many defenses as possible to make you less of an easy target. But if a hacker really wants to get to you, they're going to get to you no matter what you have in place. And by the way, the overall, theme for this section is every person on a team matters. So if I'm a company owner or a broker and I'm watching this video, I really got to think I need to make this an in-house training initiative, because I could put together some of the best safety protocols to integrate into a company, but if one agent in my office isn't doing it, they could be a security breach that could take down the whole company. So really, everyone in an organization needs to be up to speed on their data security. So it's all about, if you're a company owner or broker, you need to be the coach and really teach your agents this stuff if they don't know it. So we're going to give you an easy 5-step process to follow to make you less of a likely victim. So step number 1 of what you need to solve is you can't have an average or non-comprehensive antivirus protection in place. And what I mean by that is anytime you go to an antivirus company's website, a lot of them have a free option. Don't ever use the free. Then they'll offer you just antivirus, which is usually somewhere around $25 a year. Well, just antivirus is just one way the hackers go after you. They're also going after you with email, they're going after you with internet, they're going after you with file injections. So the point is you need to get the entire package. Depending on what company you go to, they might call it their comprehensive plan or their antivirus suite. But the key is now in spending around $25 a year, you might be more in the $75 a year range, but now you're getting full protection. So these are the 3 antivirus programs that we're going to recommend, and it's based on who does the best in testing. So a lot of security companies go out and test the antivirus, and these 3 are usually towards the top of every ranking you'll ever see, either AVG, Avast, or Kaspersky. But again, they're going to have a free option. They're going to have a just antivirus around $25 a year, or they're going to have their full suites for usually, again, around $75 a year. That is really what we're recommending. In addition to the fact that they're going to give you full protection, they also typically will include mobile protection as well. They'll say put our app on your mobile devices, your phones and your tablets, and have them protected as well for the same $75 price. If you don't have an antivirus for your mobile, there's a free app called Lookout, which does a good job. Okay, but again, we're definitely going to recommend, because there are going to be more things we're going to talk about as well, getting the full protection plan with one of the top 3 companies covers a lot of bases, including mobile protection. So that's our step number 1. You need to have one of the best antivirus programs on your devices, and you need to make sure that you're getting the full protection, not just antivirus. The second thing we need to make sure we're addressing is that everything running on our devices, our operating system and the software we've installed, is up to date and patched at all times. So in other words, I'm sure you've been on your computer before and received that little pop-up notification that, Office needs to update, or Adobe Acrobat needs to update, or your entire Windows operating system needs to do an update. And a lot of times people say, I'm busy, I don't have time for that, and they postpone it. Well, that can be a dangerous thing, because anytime a program is trying to do an update, what it means is there's either been some bugs in their system they needed to fix, or there's a security breach, and hackers have found that security breach and they've been going after it. So they had to go create these updates, these patches, to close up that security breach. So you really want to make sure you're updating it at all times. So for example, on a Windows computer, all you got to do is go to Control Panel, System and Security, and Windows Update. And you could either manually click to update at all times, or you can set this up to be an automatic update so you don't have to worry about it. If that update happens in the middle of the night, it'll automatically update in the middle of the night. So that's the first piece. And by the way, if you use a Mac computer, an Apple computer, the process is almost identical. The other part is, other than the operating system, what about all the software running on your computer? And I'm sure some of you have actually fallen for this trick. You get a little pop-up that says Adobe Acrobat needs to do an update, but it's not really Adobe. A lot of the pop-ups that tell you about software could already be a virus running on your device, and they try to trick you into clicking on it. And then sometimes they lock up your computer and hold you hostage. A lot of things can happen if it's not really the proper software. So this is another advantage of buying the entire security program, the full antivirus suite, is your antivirus program will start monitoring your software as well. It'll let you know if Adobe Acrobat really needs an update. And that way, if it's coming from your antivirus, you know it's legit. So again, it's another reason to buy the entire suite, the $75 package versus the $25 package, is it's also going to monitor your software. If for some reason you don't go with the entire suite, another tool you could download and install onto your computer is called Sukina. And Sukina is a free program that'll monitor your software on your device and let you know if anything legitimately needs to be updated. So again, the key is you don't want to fall for a fake pop-up. You need to make sure it's legit. So either your antivirus program will let you know, or you could instead use a program like Sukina. The third item that we need to address to make sure you aren't going to get a virus is we need to make sure you're not using any weak or repeated passwords. And the reason is your passwords are by far your easiest security breach you're going to have. And the reason why I'm sure you currently are using weak passwords on sites or repeating the same password on more than one site is there's just too many websites to remember passwords for. So it's almost forced you to be lazy and reuse those passwords or use weak ones. Or if you are having unique passwords on every site, you're having to carry on a little book or a spreadsheet with you everywhere you go. And that can be embarrassing or annoying having to carry out that book every time you need to log into websites. So you need to make sure every site you go to has a unique and really strong password, a lot of characters. In fact, it takes a hacker under 5 minutes to crack a password with less than 8 characters. If your password has 16 characters, it takes them up to 5 years. Okay, so you need to make sure you have tough passwords on every site. And the reason we're not doing it is there's so many passwords. Well, that's where a program like LastPass can come in. LastPass is only $12 a year. It's a program you can install onto all your computers and all your devices, and it's going to be what's called a password generator and locker. So in other words, it'll pull in all your current websites and passwords. You don't have to start from scratch. But more importantly, it's going to remember all your passwords for you, and you can ask it to generate a new password on any site. So in other words, if you have current weak passwords, each time you go back to those sites, you can say, let's generate a new tougher password. Get rid of your old weak one, replace it with a new long tough one. But the key is you don't care. You don't have to remember it at all. Once you start using LastPass, the only password you'll need is the one password for LastPass. It's your master password that gets you into every site you want to go to. So it's very easy to use. It's only $12 a year, and it'll make it where you never have to remember your passwords again, and it's a very secure program as well. The fourth item we need to address to make you less likely to get a virus is you need to be more aware of and hopefully not fall for what are called phishing techniques. And you see it's spelled a little bit weird with a PH, not an F. What phishing is deceptive emails or websites trying to trick you into entering information. So in other words, I'm sure you've seen these before. You get an email you think is from your bank. It's not really from your bank. You click on it and you go to a website that's not really your bank's website. This is called phishing. So part of the problem is these hackers are getting very creative. Sometimes they're good. It's hard to figure it out. But one of the nice things is sometimes they are lazy. Sometimes you can just look at an email and say, would Bank of America really misspell things or have bad grammar? Doubtful, right? You can move your mouse over links, and if the links don't match what they say it's going to be, that's a tip-off. Or maybe the website address isn't the real website address for that company. Instead of a bankofamerica.com, it might be ba.bankofamerica.com. So they might do some sneaky things with links and misspellings and grammar and things like that. You can be a bit of detective and look at the email and think, that doesn't look legit. And the rule of thumb is if you don't know it's a totally legit email, okay, So any marketing kind of email, don't ever click on the links in the emails. Go directly out to the website yourself without clicking. Type in the website address into your browser and go directly to the website, because any link in an email potentially could be a problem. Let's say, God forbid, you did click on that link. You went out to the website. Again, sometimes you can be a Bitte Detective here. Sometimes there's just something slightly different in the design, or the website address isn't where they claimed they were going to send you to. Again, a sneaky website address that's not the real one. Or sometimes they just get greedy. If every time you've ever been to the website, all you had to do is put in a password, now they want social security number and birth date and a lot of information you've never put in before, that might be a big red flag that it's not the legit site. Okay, but again, the big thing is if you didn't click on the links in the emails, then you shouldn't have to worry about the website being sneaky. Go directly to the website yourself. And then our fifth and last step here is making sure that any files running on your computers and that you're sending people are not encrypted. Okay, if they're not encrypted, it means they can easily be open and read. You got to make sure you're using encrypted files. If you don't know what encryption is, it's actually very easy. It's just password protecting documents. And if somebody doesn't have your password, they can't click and just open and read it. That document is complete gibberish to them without the password. Once you put in the password, it opens up just fine. Now the cool part is encryption is very easy and free to do. For example, any program you're in, this is an example of Word, you can go to the Info tab and protect the document with a password. You can also create secondary passwords. So let's say you want to create a file that you're going to email over to a client or to the title company. Well, you can create a password just for them to open up that document on their end as well. Okay, so you can do that right inside the program. And even better than that, why not, instead of just doing one file at a time, why not do an entire folder? Could even be your entire My Documents folder. So for example, on a Windows computer, all you have to do is right-click your mouse over a folder. Then from the right-click menu, you click on Properties. Then from the Properties screen, you click on Advanced. Then from the Advanced screen, you just check off Encrypt Contents with to secure the data. Once you click on that, it allows you to create a password, which basically encrypts everything inside that folder, even stuff you add later. And by the way, if you get to this last step of the little checkbox to encrypt contents to secure the data, and it's grayed out, you can't click on that box, it means you don't have administrator rights of your own computer to be able to do that step. So you might have to talk to a tech support person to make sure you get that administrator rights. But if I do this, everything in the folder is encrypted with a password. So those are free, easy ways to do it. There's also some other programs that are a little bit higher level of encryption. So if that's really not sufficient for you, you can let to other things like VeraCrypt and BitLocker and GNU Privacy Guard or Zip7. So these would allow you to, if you want to, encrypt an entire computer or entire folders very easily with a higher level encryption than you could do just over with, right-clicking on the folder on the step I showed you before. Okay, but the idea is, if files and folders are encrypted, it makes the documents a lot more secure, and that way people can't just read that document and pull out things like social security numbers and stuff like that that you're a lot of times collecting and storing. Okay, so that's it for our 5 easy steps on how to make sure you're less of a victim of, hackers and viruses and malware. In some other sections in our tech safety, we're going to talk about things like social engineering and legal and NAR policies like the Code of Ethics and Fair Housing. So I hope you guys check out that as well, and let us know if you have any questions.